GME, a privately owned and family-run radio manufacturer based in Australia, have recently begun selling their GMRS radios in these now great again United States. So, of course, GME has reached out to me, the world-renowned queen of all that is GMRS, and asked if I would be so kind as to inform the United States that GME radios are now available in the greatest country in the world. And of course, being the kind and loving GMRS queen that I am, I agreed. So GME sent me this mobile GMRS radio value pack that contains both a mobile GMRS radio and a GMRS antenna. So in this short video, I will introduce you to these GME products and declare if, in my not very humble opinion, these products are any good or not. And I should also point out that I'm not selling this stuff. They did send this value pack to me at no cost so that I could share it with the United States, but there will be no affiliate links. I am not getting paid, and I don't really care if you buy one of these products or not. My role in this relationship is to simply educate and inform the unwashed masses of GME products that are now available in these United States. GME makes very rugged, high-end premium radios and radio accessories. So if you drive something like a Range Rover, a Hummer, or a very manly Jeep like mine, and if you ever actually take it out in the dirt, then a GME radio might be a good match for your premium off-roading lifestyle. If you're a radio dork, or if you just want a GMRS radio that will only get used that one time every year that you actually get your vehicle dirty, or if you just want the lowest priced piece of junk that you can find, then a GME radio is probably not for you. And if you fit into either of those categories, please do not leave a stupid comment whining that GME radios cost too much or they aren't good for bouncing your signal off the moon or for making contacts with anonymous men in faraway and exotic lands, because that is not what GME radios are made for. GME radios are made for real men with jobs. And hopefully to prevent any confuckulation, as I mentioned only a moment ago, this is a value pack that I threw on the floor that contains both a GMRS radio and a GMRS antenna, but you can purchase either one or both separately. And in the Pacific value pack that I will be showing you is GME's middle-of-the-line GMRS radio. They also make radios that do more and cost more, and they make radios that do less and cost less. So when you purchase the Pacific value pack that I just showed you, in the box you will receive a quick start guide written in perfect English, just as one would expect, because these radios do not come from China. Nay, GME radios are handcrafted by skilled artisans in Australia, where they speak English, although they do it kind of weird.
Focused on one of our key core values. Our people are our strength.
The full user manual is available for download on the GMEUS.com website, which you can quickly and easily get to by scanning this QR code with your phone or by just typing GMEUS.com into your web browser the old-fashioned way. The full online user manual is 76 pages long and goes over all of the options and functionality of the radio, and it even has several pages dedicated to mounting and installing the radio. You will receive this slide in and out mounting bracket for mounting the radio in your vehicle. You will receive this microphone wire extension kit, which will extend the cable on the microphone by 10 feet or so, should you need the microphone cable to be longer. You will receive this power wire for connecting the radio to your vehicle's electrical energy source. You will receive this very nifty magnet-powered microphone holder and associated mounting hardware. You mount this somewhere in your vehicle, and then you can attach the microphone to it magnetically. You will receive this microphone with an RJ45 connector on it. I will discuss this more momentarily. And you will receive the GME XRS-370-U mobile GMRS radio. The radio is quite small, measuring in at this big by that big, and the case is made of metal. not plastic like many of those lesser cheap Chinese radios. On the rear, you will find a standard SO239 hole for connecting to a standard PL259 antenna wire, a hole for an optional external speaker, and a power hole for connecting the previously mentioned power wire. On the bottom, you will find a speaker, which is quite loud, and on the front, you will find an RJ45 hole for connecting to the previously mentioned microphone, thusly. As you may have already noticed, there are no buttons or controls on the chassis, and that is because you throw the chassis out of the way somewhere and you control the entire radio via the microphone. On the front of the microphone, you will find a large, easy-to-read screen, a few large control buttons, a speaker, and the actual microphone hole up here. On the top, you'll find one programmable button. On the back, you'll find a convex magnetic nub that mates into the previously mentioned microphone holder, thusly. And on the side, you'll find the push-to-talk trigger with a rubber insert that is ribbed for your tactile pleasure. The microphone feels very good in the hand. It has some heft. It does not feel like a toy. And the buttons are very tight and they have a good click to them. And these buttons are not cheap, rigid plastic. They are some kind of rubber or something, so they have some give to them when you press them, making them feel very premium. The radio has an OLED display, so it is very bright and clear, and I'm pretty sure that this might be the only mobile GMRS radio that has this kind of higher-end OLED display. The screen is not overly cluttered and is very easy to read. It has this little signal strength number meter that indicates the strength of the received signal, and you can change that to show the input voltage of the radio instead, should you choose to do so, and the screen brightness is adjustable. The relatively large speaker in the microphone is very loud, and when the volume is all the way up, it still sounds very good and very loud. And you can set the audio to come out of the microphone only, the speaker on the bottom of the radio only, or both.
This is a test of the speakers with the volume set to full. How does it sound? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And just in case it isn't clear, this is an FCC Part 95 approved GMRS radio. So just like all real GMRS radios, it comes with all of the 22 GMRS channels pre-programmed and ready to use right out of the box. No programming, no fussing, no tears. Just turn it on, pick a channel, and talk. And because this is a GMRS radio, just like all GMRS radios, it is compatible with and can talk to all FRS radios. FRS radios are those cheap $20 walkie-talkies that you find at Walmart. You just put them both on the same channel and talk. However, because this is a mobile GMRS radio, just like with all GMRS mobile radios, our overlords at the FCCs will not allow it to transmit on GMRS or FRS channels 8 through 14. And because our overlords at the FCCs will not let you transmit on those channels, this radio will skip over them like they don't even exist. But if you really cared and if you really needed to listen to those channels for some reason, you can add them in as custom channels if you really wanted to. The radio won't transmit on those channels, but you can listen to them if you really needed to. And although this radio can transmit only on the GMRS frequencies, it can receive and listen to everything from 403 MHz all the way up to 520 MHz. And speaking of custom channels, the radio has 400 memory slots divided into 8 zones for storing custom channels. And the radio is, of course, repeater capable, although you can disable the repeater functionality completely should you choose, in order to reduce confabulation and to make the radio more simpler to use. And the radio can listen to 2 channels at the same time, although I have disabled that option due to my own crippling case of confucularity. And as far as I'm able to find, GME radios are not super heterodyne type radios, but they do use digital signal processing, often referred to by us radio experts as DSP, which digitizes the incoming audio so that the radio can process and clean up the signal to make it sound more pristine to the human ear and to normalize the volume. For those of you that went to school in the United States, normalizing the audio means that the radio keeps the volume of all the signals at a consistent level, so you don't have to consistently keep turning the volume up and back down like a savage. The radio has what GME calls Scan Suite digital scanning technology. I have no idea what that means, but when scanning, it scans through channels very, very fast. And by fast, I mean that this radio scans 50 channels per second, which is about 45 channels per second faster than any GMRS radio I have ever seen in my entire radio dorkage career. And unlike all of those cheap Chinese radios, this radio has a nuisance option, so that when you're scanning through the channels and some kids are playing walkie-talkie on a channel and you don't want to hear them, you can temporarily remove that channel from scanning for the next 30 seconds by just pressing the up or down arrow button. Or you can fully remove that channel from the current scanning session until the next time you start scanning by simply holding down the scan button. And if you never want to scan that channel again, you can permanently remove it from the scan list by just going to that channel and holding the scan button for a second. Scan on for the current channel. Scan off for the current channel. The radio also has what GME calls network scan, which will allow everyone in your group to keep talking with each other even if other people are hogging up that specific channel. For this option to work, everyone in your group has to be using a GME radio, but once set up, all the radios in your group will automatically switch to a clear channel every time you transmit, which is very peachy keen. And the radio has what GME calls selective calling, which is similar to group calling that many other radios have, but better. Once set up and configured, other people in your group that are also using GME radios can call out to you and make your radio beep or ring and show their ID number and name of the person that's calling you. You can then decide if you want to talk to them or not. And you can optionally make the radio ignore all other signals unless someone is calling your specific radio. And this radio can optionally record what it receives.
Hey Tony, can I park my car right next to the booth so that it looks like very few people here before the start of the event? Copy that. See you in a bit.
When recording is enabled, the radio will automatically record the first 30 seconds of every transmission it receives, and it can store up to a total of 12 minutes of combined audio recordings. And when you play back the recordings, the screen shows what channel it was recorded on and how long ago it was recorded, if you haven't turned the radio off since it was recorded, like I have done. The radio has an automatic power down function that you can set to turn the radio off after a preset time of inactivity of between 30 minutes and 3 hours. This can help prevent your battery from running down if you forget to turn the radio off. And you can set it so that after the time period that you choose, it will power off only if you don't touch the radio for that amount of time, or if you don't touch the radio and the radio doesn't receive anything. And unlike most cheap Chinese radios, this radio has an adjustable microphone gain, and although it's probably not a big priority for most real off-roaders or overlanders that would be using this radio, the transmission audio quality coming from this radio is quite good. Listen for yourself.
This is a test of the GME XRS-370 GMRS radio. How does it sound? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But I should also point out, again, that if you are a serious overlander or off-roader, or if you have a very manly Jeep like I do, then you should not care about that because that's the kind of thing that only radio dorks care about. But what does matter and what should be important to everyone is that this radio does have a Roger beep, and it sounds like this. You can change virtually all settings and do all of the programming right on the radio, the old-fashioned way, and the menus are simple and unambiguous. Or should you desire, you can use the free phone app for programming and to apply firmware updates, because all GME radios have built-in Bluetooth for programming the radio via the app. Just download the free app, pair your phone with the radio, which you only have to do once and only takes about 3 seconds, and then read the contents of the radio into the app. You can then view or change settings, add channels, make backups of the configuration, and probably a lot of other stuff that I haven't figured out how to do yet. And then, after screwing up all of your settings, you just write your changes back into the radio, all wirelessly. And to use the app, you do not need to create an account or submit an email address or anything. You simply install it and use it. And the app does not require any internet service, so you can use it while you're deep in the bush, as the Australians would say. And I would be remiss if I did not point out the one thing about this radio that many ignorant people will probably complain about, and that is that the radio outputs a maximum of 5 watts. This means that the radio isn't going to overheat or want to burn itself out or suck a lot of juice from your electrical system, and it also means that in 99% or more of off-road or overlanding situations, this radio will give just as many FARs as a 20-watt or a 50-watt radio. And this is because, as any true radio expert knows, the frequencies that GMRS uses are line of sight. Line of sight. That means that if there is a mountain range between you and who you want to talk with, or if you're at the bottom of a valley, it does not matter if you're transmitting 5 watts or 100 watts. Either way, you're not going to get through to them. Conversely, if you are 10, 20, or 30 miles from someone and there is even decent line of sight, you will reach them on 5 watts virtually just as good as you would reach them with 20 watts or 50 watts. And I prove this in every video that I test any handheld GMRS walkie-talkies when I talk to my friend Conrad the chef at his house 13 miles away, often with as little as 2.5 watts because we have decent line of sight. Sadly, though, in our society, ignorance is a plague, and I'm sure that some people are going to leave ignorant comments on this very video proclaiming that because the radio only outputs 5 watts, it's useless, even though anyone that has actually ever used a low-power GMRS radio connected to a decent antenna knows otherwise. And speaking of a decent antenna, the antenna that comes in this specific value pack is the GME AE4704B-U heavy-duty 2.1 dBi gain GMRS antenna, which is one of their middle-of-the-line GMRS antennas, and they also sell this separately. As you can see, this antenna is very big and black, and not only is it very long, but it also has a lot of girth. This antenna and all of the GME antennas are super heavy-duty and have a super heavy-duty spring, and they are made to be used in what they call in Australia the thick bush, which over there means dense bushes and trees in the outback in the middle of nowhere. And I, for one, love driving hard and into and right through some thick bush. And ever since I was a teenager, driving into some good, dark, thick bush has always been one of my favorite things to do. Anyway, the antenna is removable from the spring and is interchangeable with other GME antennas. It's a bit like an old-fashioned CB radio antenna. And perhaps the best thing about this antenna, other than it being big and black with a lot of girth, is that this is what us radio experts call an NGP, or no ground plane antenna, which means that no ground plane is needed to use this antenna. So you can mount it on a fiberglass roof or anywhere on your vehicle with an imperfect or non-existent ground plane, and this antenna will perform just fine. The antenna has a 16.5-foot long cable that is permanently connected into the antenna, and the cable has an FME connector, which is small enough to fish through small holes or slits, and it comes with a PL259 adapter, which you then use to connect it to the radio. If you've ever had to cut the ends off of a coax cable so you could fish it through small holes or tight slits, and then had to put on a new connector, you will appreciate how convenient this type of connector is. And on that positive note, I will now bring this video to its conclusion. To learn more about GME radios or to find an authorized dealer near you, go to gmeus.com on your interweb.